If you need to hire someone in another country but you don't have a legal entity there, you have two main options. You can set up a local subsidiary, which takes months and costs thousands, or you use an employer of record platform that hires them on your behalf and handles payroll, compliance, and taxes. The two biggest names in that space are Deel and Papaya Global. And if you've been trying to figure out which one to choose, you've probably noticed that most comparison content follows the same pattern. Feature table, side-by-side checklist, it depends on your needs, and you close the tab knowing nothing new. So let's skip that. I will walk through how these platforms actually work, who they're actually built for, and by the end, you'll know which one fits your situation. The real question isn't which one has more features, it's who was sitting in the room when they built it. Deel was designed for people ops teams and founders, the companies you've heard of that hire internationally at speed. Someone accepts an offer on Tuesday, you need them in payroll by Friday. No implementation project, no IT runway, no 3-month timeline, just get it done. That's Deel's environment. Papaya was built for a different buyer. Finance teams and global payroll managers at larger organizations who need serious data infrastructure. Real-time payroll analytics across 10+ countries. Reports that feed directly into SAP or Workday. The kind of stack that matters when you're managing hundreds of employees across multiple continents and your CFO asks hard questions every quarter. So before we get into pricing or features, ask yourself who's driving this decision and how complex your current setup actually is. Most teams watching this are probably in Deel's lane, but we'll go through both so you can be sure. Day-to-day difference starts with onboarding, because the gap is widest here. With Deel, you start a hire, the platform auto-generates a compliant contract, the employee gets an invite, fills in their details, and they're in payroll. In most markets, that takes 2 to 3 business days. The UK runs about a week due to local requirements, and anything involving a work permit takes longer regardless of platform. But compared to alternatives, Deel is consistently the fastest. You barely touch it. Papaya is a different pace entirely. One EOR employee in a simple setup can be live in under a week. That's fine, but rolling out the full platform, connecting to SAP or Workday, configuring payroll across multiple countries, that's 8 to 12 weeks. Real project. Real resources from your side? That's not a flaw if you're a large company doing a structured international rollout. You've done implementations before. But if someone signed an offer and needs to start in 2 weeks, Papaya's timeline won't work for that situation. Features. This is where the gap gets clear. Deel covers 8 areas: EOR, global payroll, contractor management, HRIS, IT device provisioning, immigration, equity management, performance reviews. 8 things, 1 login. If you've been paying for 4 tools that barely talk to each other, replacing them with one platform feels like a genuine upgrade. Deel has made over 12 acquisitions in the last few years, and they've integrated them aggressively. What they cover today is already more than 18 months ago. Papaya covers 4: EOR, global payroll, contractor management, and analytics. No equity, no devices, no immigration. But, and this matters, Papaya does those 4 at an enterprise depth Deel hasn't matched, especially the analytics. Their BI dashboard is the best in this category. Real-time payroll spend by country, department, cost center, tax forecasting, FX exposure, scenario modeling. You can ask the platform what it costs to convert 5 contractors in Germany to full-time employees and see the answer before you decide. That's a serious planning tool. If you're running payroll across 15 countries with a finance team that lives in data, that's genuinely valuable. Most companies aren't there yet. But if you are, Papaya is hard to beat on this. Money side. A few things worth knowing. EOR pricing is roughly comparable. Deel starts at $599 per employee per month. Papaya lands around $650 to $770, depending on country and plan. Papaya runs slightly higher on EOR. On contractors, Papaya is noticeably cheaper, $25 to $30 per contractor per month versus Deel's $49. 10 contractors, that's over $2,000 back in your budget annually. That said, Deel's $49 buys more flexibility. Over 120 currencies, payments via bank transfer, Wise, Revolut, PayPal, or crypto. Contractors pick what works for them. If you're managing people across 15 countries with different payment preferences, that flexibility has real value. Papaya's options are solid but narrower. The price gap is real. Whether it matters depends on how varied your contractor base actually is. One thing Deel doesn't advertise: when your billing currency differs from payroll currency, there's an FX markup of 0.6% to 2% baked into the conversion rate. No line item on your invoice, it's just in the rate. On $1 million in cross-border payroll, that's up to $10,000 a year you won't see. Worth knowing before you sign. Papaya owns their payments infrastructure. They didn't build on top of Wise or Stripe, they built their own licensed payment network. That's why they guarantee same-day payroll delivery in 160-plus countries. Deel routes through third parties in some markets, which usually works fine, but can introduce occasional delays. One topic most comparison videos skip: misclassification. If you're paying people as contractors and a government decides they should have been employees, that's expensive. Legal fees, back taxes, penalties. It happens more than expected, especially in France, Germany, and Spain, where rules are strict. Deel has two products for this: Contractor of Record at $325 a month. Deel becomes the legal contracting entity. Risk is fully theirs. Or Deel Premium, roughly $50 added to your standard $49 contractor fee. So about $99 total per contractor per month. Covers you up to $25,000 per contract if a misclassification case goes to court. If you're confident in your contractor relationships but want a safety net, Premium is a reasonable middle ground. Papaya's agent of record service does the same thing. They absorb the legal employer role to take classification risk off you. Pricing isn't published, so ask in a sales call. For larger teams, their Contingent OS, launched May 2025 at $30 per contractor per month, is built for managing contingent workforces at enterprise scale, with governance and compliance tooling baked in. Quick word on support. It matters more than people think. Deel runs 24/7 AI-first support. Routine issues, payment status, onboarding steps, contract generation get handled fast. Where it slows down is nuanced compliance questions that need an actual legal opinion. On standard tier accounts, that can become a multi-day email thread. It's not broken, it just wasn't designed for edge cases. Papaya gives every client a dedicated customer success manager from day one, in your time zone, with whatever meeting cadence you want. First 3 months after go-live, you get additional onboarding support. For enterprise teams running complex multi-country operations, that personal access matters. Honest caveat: having a dedicated person doesn't guarantee fast answers. Some Capterra reviewers note that complex issues still drag even with a CSM. Trade-off is clear. Deel is faster on volume, Papaya is more personal. What matters is which type of issue shows up most for your team. Here's the honest version. Papaya is a genuinely great platform, built for a specific situation. Your enterprise scale. You've got a finance team that needs consolidated payroll intelligence. You're already in SAP or Workday, and you have runway for a proper implementation. If that's you, Papaya is worth it. For everyone else, and that's most people making this decision, Deel fits better. Faster to start, covers more ground, handles more of your HR stack in one place, and it keeps expanding. You don't need to be a certain size or have a specific tech stack to get value on day one. Both platforms are solid, but one of them you can start using this week. If you found this useful, drop a comment below with which platform you're leaning toward and why. And if you're in the middle of this decision, hit subscribe! I cover this stuff regularly, and the next video might save you a few $1,000s.